Okay, Judge, I think we have all the parties.
Okay, I've got Robin's paperwork, not Thompson's.
Okay. I'm gonna mute, I'm gonna leave your video off and bring them in and see who they have. Is that all right?
Yes. Okay. He said they haven't been able to get a hold of Mr. Thompson.
Okay, Dan, who do you have in your office, or do you have a client in your office?
Robbins.
I'm sorry?
We have David Robbins, and we did send the paperwork.
Okay, the judge does have Robin's paperwork.
Okay, and Tim
Okay,
will be here to do the plea.
Oh, okay, so you're not quite ready?
Well, no, we're ready. It's just I'm not dressed in a coat and tie. He is. He looks much better than I do right now. So.
Okay. I'm gonna put you back in the waiting room and get Tim on, and we're ready to go. It's half an hour late.
He'll just, yeah, sorry about that. Tim's just gonna come in here right now. So he's in the office. So I'll get him in.
Well, sounds good.
Shelley, can you hear me?
I can.
Jackie just told me that Tim or Dan one said they can't get hold of Mr. Thompson.
Okay, well, they do have Mr. Robbins in the office,
All right.
so we could do that one.
Okay.
And Aaron is in the waiting room, and probation's also in the waiting room.
Okay. Can you start my video or do I need to?
Let me see if I can. It
Okay.
says ask to start. There you are.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna let everybody in.
You don't go to where they can see. There you go. There you go.
Okay, are you David Dwayne Robbins?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, be sure and speak up loudly enough, Mr. Robbins, so that the judge and the district attorney can hear you, okay?
Okay.
All right. I'm
All
ready
right.
when you are, Judge.
Good afternoon, everyone. The court will call case number 6181, the state of Texas versus David Dwayne Robbins. Is the state ready?
State's ready, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready?
We're ready.
And sir, for the record, again, are you David Dwayne Robbins?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Robbins, you have been charged with illegal dumping. That's a state jail felony. It's punishable by imprisonment in the state jail division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division for not more than 2 years and not less than 180 days. Mr. Robbins, you were charged with this by indictment. Do you want that indictment read to you, or do you waive the reading of that indictment?
I'll waive the reading.
And is your name, David Dwayne Robbins, correctly stated in that indictment?
Yes.
And sir, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
In that case, I will ask you how you plead to this charge, guilty or not guilty.
Your Honor, he's pleading to a lesser included.
He's not pleading to a lesser included. He's going to be sentenced under 1244A, but that doesn't change the charge.
That's correct.
Okay,
All right, so I'll ask you again, Mr. Robbins, do you plead guilty or not guilty to the charge of illegal dumping?
guilty.
And sir, are you pleading guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason?
Yes,
Have you been threatened or promised anything or coerced in order to make this plea?
no, ma'am.
Right, Mr. Robbins, I have in front of me a document called a felony plea of guilty waiver stipulation and judicial confession. In this document, you plead guilty, you waive certain rights, such as the right to a jury trial, and you stipulate that the state's evidence is true and correct. It looks like you have signed this document. Is that your signature?
I believe so.
Mr. Sally, do you have a copy of this that you could show him so he can verify that's his signature?
Yes, yes, we do. We'll get it.
Okay.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am. That's my signature.
All right, Mr. Robbins, by signing this, are you telling the court that you fully understand everything contained in this document?
There's too much in it. I can't understand it all, but yeah, I get the gist of it, I believe.
Mr. Sally, have you talked to your client and advised him of his rights?
Mr. Seeloff did, Judge.
Mr. Seeloff, and Mr. Seeloff, did you go over all of the contents of the stipulations with him?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Did Mr. Robbins have any questions about those contents?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, and so Mr. Robbins, again, do you believe, as you say, you understood overall the meaning of the documents?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
And I can't remember if I've asked this, Mr. Sally or Mr. Seeloff, did you advise Mr. Robbins of his rights?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Do you believe him to be mentally competent?
I do, Your Honor.
And do you approve of him signing these stipulations before the court today?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Does the state concur in the signing of these stipulations?
State concurs.
In that case, Mr. Robbins, I'm going to accept these stipulations and enter them into the court's record as State's Exhibit number 1. Ms. Anchondo, is there a plea agreement in this case?
There is, Your Honor, in exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty, the state has agreed to recommend to the court that it's in the best interest of justice that the defendant be sentenced under 1244A of the Penal Code. Sentence be assessed at 30 days confinement in the Moore County Jail. A $500 fine be assessed. Any court cost reimbursement fees as reflected in the judgment. The defendant is entitled to 1 day credit, and he is to report to the Moore County Jail tomorrow, January 6, 2023 by 9 a.m.
Mr. Robbins, you've heard the district attorney announce the plea agreement. Was that your understanding of the plea that you accepted?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Seeloff, do you concur that was the plea offered to your client?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Mr. Robbins, I will follow the recommendation of the district attorney's office, and I will find you guilty of the offense of illegal dumping, and I will sentence you under 1244A to 30 days in the Moore County Jail. I'm going to order you to pay a $500 fine. I'm going to note that you're entitled to 1 day of jail time credit. Do you have any questions about that judgment?
No, ma'am.
As Ms. Anchondo stated, you are to report to the Moore County Jail. Was it tomorrow morning by 9 a.m., Ms. Anchondo?
Yes, Judge.
All right. And Mr. Robbins, have you been satisfied with your representation by Mr. Sally?
Yes, ma'am.
And has he done everything that you asked him to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, thank you, Mr. Robbins. Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Right. Mr. Robbins, you may be excused.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
And Judge, on Mr. Thompson, I don't believe that Mr. Sally's office was able to locate him. If we can get another date for him to plea, maybe next week. I don't know when the jury cards go out. He's our jury trial for January 30th in Dallam County. And
Oh, yes,
if we can get to him before the cards go out, that would be my preference.
Judge, I'm gonna suggest if I can get him in the courtroom on Monday.
Well, we are presently scheduled for a jury trial on, well, as you know, well, no, because it was his.
Right, but
also.
I'm thinking we squeeze in 5 minutes while the jury's being seated or when there's a break or something.
Okay, yeah, I don't see why that wouldn't work. Will that work for you, Miss Anchondo?
Yes, yep, I'll be there Monday morning. So if we can get him there and then he can report to the jail.
And all
At a
this
later time.
was, we're not sure if we're gonna be able to get a hold of him, but if we can get a hold of him by the weekend, we'll get him there Monday. If not, then I guess we'll get us a date.
All right, I don't
9
know.
a.m.?
Do I?
Pardon?
9 o'clock Monday morning?
If
Yes,
we
that works
can-
for me.
Yeah, if we can get a hold of him. And he's not hard to get a hold of except today. He's just not returning our calls. He may be working or something.
All right, we'll set him for 9 o'clock Monday unless we hear from you, Mr. Sally.
Okay,
Okay,
sounds good.
thank you.
Thanks.